Gideon was once the strongest man in the lands, and lived in a world where you can only get stronger abilities by killing others. However, he was kicked out of the heroes' party because he pretended to be weak, so he decided to become a pharmacist and live in the countryside, where he met a girl who was willing to do anything to be by his side, and they began living together. A man comes and begs Red, which is Gideon's fake name, to come and help a child who has fallen ill. Red rushes to the room, and he finds the child is extremely ill and needs medicine that isn't available. He knows where to find it, and decides to risk it by going out of the safe zone to get the medicine for the child. When he leaves the premises, he activates his super speed, and we get an intense parkour scene. He finds a burning forest, and goes through it to find blood needles to cure the child. However, a bear comes to attack him, but Red jumps and slashes it off, ending it. Members of another party find it, and one of them recognizes this sword style. Red brings the medicine back and the child is cured from his illness now. The doctor thanks Red for being a brave adventurer and tells him that he would be delighted to buy medicine for him since he's the only traveler pharmacist. 4 months later, the hero Rit goes inside a store and hears that there's a celebration right now. She asks what the occasion is, and the lady tells her that Red is throwing a party, and that he's an herb gathering specialist who is celebrating his new apothecary opening. Rit seems intrigued by this. The next day, Rit enters his apothecary and sees him, recognizing him. Gideon also recognizes her. They begin having dinner together, and Gideon remembers that she's a princess of a foreign nation. She asks him why his name is Red because Red and Rit sound very similar, and he tells her that he couldn't think of anything else so he based it off hers. She is happy that he still thinks of her and remembers her. He tells her that he was kicked out of the party, and she is surprised because he was the only one holding the rest of the party together. They reminisce on all the times they spent together, and Rit remembers losing all of her party members and crying over losing them. He asks her if she's hungry, and she tells him that she's starving. He tells her that he will get her something to eat and fix something up. She asks him if she could work with him, and this surprises him. She tells him that the name Red and Rit's apothecary has a nice ring to it. He tells her that he can't afford to hire her because he has no customers, but she tells him that she will look over his shop while he gets herbs. She tells him that his business will grow, and asks him if he makes anything special. He shows her his multiplying potion, but she calls him stupid because that could crash the economy. She finds it relieving that he can be dumb at times because she thought he was a multi-talented and calm person that never made mistakes, and it made her feel far from him. She tells him that she feels happy to get to know him. He shows her painkillers that aren't addictive, and she tells him that he's very intelligent for that. He tells her that she can come by whenever she wants, and that he can't pay her much, but he would appreciate her help. She tells him that they will never be apart. Later on, they eat good food and Rit loves it. She tells him that she will enjoy his food every day, and he thinks that cooking will be more fun. She tells him that they'll build a bathtub and she'll pay for it. He tells her that he doesn't want her to spend that much on him, but she tells him that she doesn't mind because she'll use it too. This confuses him, but she goes on to say that she's also going to buy another bed tomorrow. He tells her that it sounds like she's moving in.
Well, yeah, that's because I am. I thought I made that clear.
Sensational.
The next day he wakes up on the floor and looks over to see some good old plot lying next to him and observes the eggs he'll be having for breakfast. He asks her if she slept well, and she tells him that she wasn't used to it so she didn't sleep well. He tells her he got the bed for next to nothing, but she tells him that's not why she had trouble sleeping. He has prepared a delicious meal for her and they will be going out to get a bed for her to sleep in with him. She tells him that she will only want a very cheap salary, and he thinks that is reasonable since she will be living with him anyway. He then realizes that it's very low for a person like Rit, and tells her to go with that, realizing that she had already planned to live with him so she doesn't make him pay her much. He thanks her, and she doesn't know why. They go inside the mattress store and the owner, Storm, is confused why Red is there with her. She tells him that she moved in with Red and that she's here with him to buy a mattress. The goblin is scared speechless. He then acts nicely towards Rit, and Red tells Storm that he wasn't this nice to him last time he was here. Storm tells him that it's because he haggled for 30 minutes over the cheapest mattress there is. She tells him that she wants a double bed, but he tells her to make it a single instead. Storm calls him a wuss, and Rit calls him a coward. They will get the bed delivered to them soon. Rit tells him that she enjoyed Storm's shop, and Red explains that it is because he has the craftsman blessing leveled up all the way. Red goes on to explain that everyone is given a blessing from birth, and they can only level it up in a single way, and that would be only to battle and slay someone who has a blessing. He sees children fighting, and one of them tries to throw a stone at Red. He tells the kid to beat it, and that he should be acting more mature at his age. The kids run, and Red asks Tanta if he's okay. Tanta tells his friend that Red is one of his friends who is an adventurer. Rit comes in, and Tanta asks why they're together. She tells him that they started living together recently. They go together to get their new painkiller approved. But the headmaster tells them that they came at the worst time possible because the previous painkiller is spreading around the black market and being misused. He tells her that he will personally approve her painkiller though because it's Rit. This makes them very happy. Rit tells him that it makes her happy that she was able to help him and that she would do anything for him. She then grabs his arm closer to her. They get home and realize they need a hit remedy for their shop to take off, because it will take too long for word to go around about their painkiller. They eat good food together, and then they realize that there's never been an apothecary that serves food. He then gets to put a nutritional supplement in with some apple jam, and begins to make some cookies and bakes them. They taste them and they happen to be tasty. The next day, Rit is offering samples for all the people and telling them to try them as they cure colds. The people are taken off guard. Rit also asks a person in the store if he would like to try some, but he doesn't want any. A mother comes in saying that she's heard this pharmacy offers medicine and cookies, and her child can't handle the taste of medicine. Red offers her a sample, and she tries it and loves it. Before they know it, the store is flooded, and they sell all the medicinal cookies they had. They high-five each other and Red grabs her by the waist and carries her. This makes Rit very happy and they begin celebrating together. She tells him that she's happy that she can help him, and Red tells her that he will never forget any words she says. Meanwhile, the heroes party that kicked Red out is struggling. The big man is mad for all the time they've been wasting in the middle of the desert. He tells him that he's mad he got rid of Red because they were never struggling when Red was around. The man tells him that he will leave this party because it is useless without Red, and that he made a fatal mistake kicking him out. The divine hero, Red's sister, comes out of the tent. He tells her that he wants to look for Red, and she tells him that he can go and look for Red. The next day, he wakes up to some more plot and nice eggs for breakfast. This time, he wants to put his sausage and bacon in the eggs. He's glad that he's living this life with her, instead of living a future of slaughter. A man comes into the shop, and Red asks him what medicine he's looking for. He tells Red that he wants the truth about the bear he saw. He knows that the wound came from a dull blade, which was like Red's dull blade. He threatens him again, and Red says it's not him. He holds his knife to his head, and that he wanted to invite him to his party. Red comes in, breaking his sword and destroying him. Red stops her, and she tells him that she may kill him for holding his sword up to Red. Red tells her that he was just asking him to join his party, and Rit tells him to get out. He runs scrambling, and Rit asks him if he's okay. She worries about him for not defending himself, but he tells her that he knew the soldier would stop at the last second. Red goes on to tell her to be more careful with her meat because it could have gone to waste. They have another lovely dinner together, and are glad they started living together. She remembers that they still need a tub, and that she would love to have a tub that would be big enough for both of them. He asks her if she would like to go to a sauna for the meantime, and she tells him that she would love to. The next day at the sauna, we are having an intense men's competition. Red is confused about how this is happening, and how this became an endurance test. Storm tells him that he should have gotten a double instead of a single, and Red thinks they should mind their own business. They start to make fun of him for being such a wuss, but he snaps and tells them to mind their own business. This startles them and they start being quiet. Storm is beginning to falter and says that it sure is hot. He then corrects himself and says that the summers sure are hot, and that the citizens just lay around and sleep and are lazy. The gray-haired man challenges him, telling him that he just hasn't lived in Zoltan, telling him not to make anything up because they're lazy in winter too. They continue challenging each other, and Red stands up and reveals his male plot. He warms up the sauna even more, and Gantz finally falls over. They realize there's no other customers here, and the old man tells them there's a new expensive sauna around, and everyone is leaving to go to it. They try to encourage him by all buying drinks. Rit sees this and loves seeing people helping each other. At home, they think about a way of trying to save his sauna. They ask Red if he has any ideas, and Red begins to think. Tanta tells him that the tea smells incredible, and Red realizes that he has an idea. He goes back to the sauna and shows him that he has brought a potpourri stick. He tells him it's a sack filled with herbs that can go over the sauna and can heal people as well as smell great. He tells him that if it works great, he will give him a steady supply. They put it in the sauna and the old man realizes that this could help him stay in business because the big bath houses don't have this. They are glad that they're able to help him and he offers them a free bath for this. The girls then decide to enter to start developing plot. They tell him that they're both here because they wanted to share the sauna with him. He asks them why their plot is all out and that now is married. She tells him that her husband doesn't need to know.
It's an evil world we live in.
He begins to leave but Rit tells him to stay with them. Now tells him that a real man would accept the offer and now sits and laughs at them for sitting next to each other blushing. Now tells Rit that Red is one of the best men she could be picking and Red is ready to die from the heat. He doesn't understand how women can handle all the heat. Rit pushes her plot over him and he finally dies. The sauna battle is back on again. They compliment Red for his idea, but Storm is beginning to fall apart. Now comes in, and Storm falls down. They walk back home, glad that his customers are being able to return. Red is surprised that she can find stuff like this to be so fulfilling. Now and her husband wave them goodbye, and Rit tells him that she thinks their family is lovely. On their walk back, she tells him that she got him the mead the other day because in her country, couple would take a month off from work when they got married, and they would drink mead together. She says that when she remembered that, she felt like drinking mead with him. Red and her decide to go home. The next day, a group of menacing men come at the door. They tell him that they want to meet with Rit. He tells them that he knows her well enough to reply for her and tells them that they need to wait if they want to speak with her. The man tells him that he's bold for making them wait, but they will wait for her. He tells her about the people waiting for her, but she tells him that she will make them wait even longer. She eventually goes out to meet them, and a man comes in the store. Red recognizes him from the Thieves Guild. He offers him an elven coin, which is worth $1 million in Red's currency in exchange for him cutting ties with Rit. Red tells him that it is way too cheap, and that even billions wouldn't be enough for him to give up being with Rit. He tells him that he knows the thieves are trying to buy him off with this coin because Rit is worth way more than that to them. The old men ask Rit what the problem is, but she tells them that she retired from this terrible life, and that she wants to just stay with Red and will leave the town with him if they continue to bother Red because they have a lifelong contract together. Red hears this and tells her that he is glad she said that for him. He asks her for her hand, and she offers it, and he gives her a present, saying it is a down payment on their life together. She sees that there's an amber gem on it, and that she might get the wrong idea with this. He tells her that he would get her something better, and asks her what her favorite gemstone would be. She tells him that she would love anything that he would get for her. Red is happy that she has the chance to finally stay with someone she loves. She remembers the times they used to adventure together, and how there was once an elf that used to be friendly with Red. They would walk around and Rit would get jealous about this. Red asked if she's okay, but she tells him not to worry about her because she doesn't need him to worry about her. He tells her that she's right, and this makes her upset. The elf girl tells her that there's a pond up ahead, and that they should take a bath there. A body of water. You know what that means. Plot, and even more elf plot. The elf girl tells her that she should try to not be mad at Gideon whenever she's jealous, and that she should actually show him that she loves him more instead. Rit asks her if she's also in love with Gideon, but she tells her that she can't fall in love with humans because they would die before her, and comforts her that she won't be stealing her man away. She remembers departing away from Gideon, and how she had to stay back to protect her nation but must depart from the man she loves. However, she is now with him again, and is happy to have that opportunity. The next day, Red walks in and sees a man passed out with some substance on the floor. He tells the doctor to give him a certain antidote, and Red explains that he has developed his first aid skill to mastery. They take the man back to the clinic and treat him. The doctor explains that this is from a narcotic that was recently approved, and that it's been going around killing people. He thanks Red for his quick work saving the man, and asks him for a bigger supply of the antidote. He goes back home and Red is hungry, and she tells him that she would love for him to make an omelet, and he makes her one that she enjoys. She tells him that the food is nice and hot just like her, and if I was Red, I would want to eat her juicy food. I meant food. He tells her that he would want to take her to the river for a barbecue. They go on Drake's and begin to race to the river. They cool drinks in the river and Red puts up a tent and she begins to develop plot. She asks him to look at her and he enjoys the view. They go into the pool and they begin splashing at each other. They sit and relax next to each other and he realizes that he has nothing to say to her. They begin laughing because they're awkward with one another and Red thinks she'd be used to this sort of thing. She thinks he's calling her experienced, but he tells her that he thought she was very straightforward when she came to his shop. She tells him she kept worrying that he'd forgotten her or would reject her. She hugs him and tells him to enjoy the moment. She then leans in and kisses him, telling him that she'd like to move their relationship forward. At night, the double bed has finally arrived, and plot is about to develop to the absolute extreme. Red gets on the bed and he hugs her, and she hears his heart is beating. She kisses him and begins developing plot. He tells her he likes her hands and kisses her. For the first time in all of anime, the male is about to develop plot. Red tells her that they should just wait to do it another day since Al is still here with them, and they agree to just wait and fall asleep. A storm rages outside, and Red and Rit drink warm milk and honey. The doctor comes knocking down on the door, and he sees Al is bleeding out. Red treats him, and Al wakes up screaming that someone was about to kill his parents with an axe. Red runs towards their home, seeing that they're both alive but they are both unconscious from blunt force. Red knows that this attack will lead to a lot more trouble, because Ademi, who is the son of the leader of the town, disappeared, and the citizens thought the government was covering for him. They meet with the leader of the town, and they find that Tanta is waiting there unharmed because he was being questioned. The leader apologizes for the way they questioned Tanta, but tells them that it was necessary. He tells them that he found no reason to believe that Ademi was involved in this, but Red tells him that it could have been caused by the substance that's been going around. The man yells, refuting that there was any possibility of his son ever doing such a thing, and they decide to leave. In the apothecary, a strange man comes to Al, and later that night, Al tells him about his encounter and how he received a strange sword, but doesn't know if he wants to become a hero like Rit or if he was influenced by his blessing. Red tells him to listen to his blade, and listen to what it asks him to do. Meanwhile, Rit knocks a man down from the top of a building, and steps on him. The man gets a good view of her plot and then explodes, leaving a green substance all over her. 3 bandits come at her, and she realizes that she can't take her sword out. A strange man comes, defending her, and he reveals himself to be Danon. She heals herself and most importantly her plot, because that's half the show. He tells her that he's come to find Gideon, and reveals that these bandits are actually stalker demons. He tells her that he wants their help cleaning this city up, but doesn't want Gideon to know of his presence here. He smiles in a cynical manner. Rit heads home, and sits on Gideon and he starts growing. Wait, that's not part of this show. She tells him that she wants to have a bath with him to relax. He tells her that they will be able to take a bath together soon. But first, he wants to show her the sword that Al got, and she inspects it with her magical ability. She tells him it looks like an ordinary sword, but has a locate spell on it, which can tell whoever made this sword the location of its wielder. Red finds this suspicious and wonders why they may take this. Rit hugs Red, telling him that she's worried and doesn't know how long they can live together in peace. He tells her that they will keep living together forever and ever. She kisses him on the cheek, telling him that she wishes to be with him forever too. In the morning, Rit walks around the town in a cloak and goes to an alley where she is trapped by men who think she is Al. They ask her to come with them to the leader of the thieves, but she unveils herself and tells them that she used the locate spell on the sword against them. She begins attacking them, using her superior acrobatics to jump on them and knock them out. The final man left transforms into an axe demon and begins charging at her. Meanwhile, at the apothecary, the evil man comes again. He tells them that they actually trapped Rit and that they're a step ahead. A cloaked man comes and stops Al from fighting back. They throw Al in front of the Thieves Guild master, and he tells Al that he's the one who's been behind all of this. He was the man flooding the market with the substance causing people to go insane, because it is made out of the devil's blessing. He tells him that the blessing allows them to choose a new blessing, changing their entire life instead of living a miserable life determined against their will by their blessing. He reveals Ademi, and the leader tells Al that this was all part of their plan. The leader greets the crowd, telling them that he has heard the complaint of the people and that they wanted justice for the one who hurt Al's parents. He tells them that he demanded justice and went out of his own way to capture Ademi, the son of the leader of the town. He then tells them that he will help them bring justice to live a better life and brings Ademi out. They put Ademi down and hand Al a blade. The leader tells them that Ademi's head will bring about a revolution that will change the world. Al is confused because Ademi was forced to hurt his parents against his own will because of the Thieves Guild. He goes on to convince Al that Ademi is his enemy, and Al is ready to slash him down, but looks at his sword. He readies his weapon, but cuts down Ademi's ropes. Al tells him that his sword doesn't want to cut Ademi, and that he will be the one who decides who to kill. The evil man reveals an axe, and Ademi begins to lose control because the devil's blessing causes an impulse to kill whenever he sees an axe. However, Red comes out of nowhere and stops Ademi. He tells them that they were never a step ahead of him and Rit, and Al grabs onto him. He activates acrobatics mastery and doesn't take any fall damage.
New 5 gum. Stimulate your senses.
Albert approaches him, and Albert appears to be on the side of the thieves. He readies his weapon at his full speed, but Red dodges him and parries his attacks. Albert realizes that Red is a much higher rank than he tells them. Albert reveals that he has also made a contract with the demon to make his life as a hero more fulfilling to fight the demon lord. Albert asks him to join him to become the strongest champion, but Red says he has no interest in that, and town guards begin to surround them, revealing that this was part of his trap. Albert wonders why he did this, and Red tells him that he's just an apothecary owner and doesn't want to play hero. Albert runs with his full might towards Red. Red tells him that being a hero is more than just physical strength, and that he wished Albert could have been this town's hero. No one wanted to be a hero more than Albert, and he would have been the best hero for this town had he not given in to his desires. Al goes to tell the townspeople that he forgives Ademi because he was just being controlled. He tells them that he has forgiven Ademi, and that everyone should just go home with them. The townspeople realize that if Al was able to forgive Ademi, then everyone else has no reason to fight. A strange man comes up to the thieves' leader and makes him reveal his true identity. He then goes to face off against Rudy, telling her that he has a way for her to defeat the demon lord and shows her the demon blessing. He tells her that it lowers her current blessing, allowing her to level it up faster, and then restores its level. This excites her because she thinks that she can finally use it to see her brother. Meanwhile, Rit and Red think of a way to make more money in the apothecary, and Rit tells him about the hand warmers they used to use in her town. With the cold beginning to set, Red goes around giving people hand warmers as free samples. By the end of the night, he meets up with Ms. Giant rocket launchers and she gives him her mittens. Snow begins to fall around them, and they hold hands walking until they see a bench. They decide to sit there together, and Red asks him if he's going to do anything to her.
What do you mean by that?
Red throws his cloak over her, covering her and hugging her to him. They lay next to each other, and she tells him that if he keeps looking at her, he will miss the falling snow. He tells her that this is the only time he'll get to see her amid the falling snow. She then tells him that no one is here, and he pulls down the cover and kisses her. Meanwhile, Rudy has made it to town and finds Goblin, trapping him so that he can make more Devil's Blessing for her. Rit and Red go to an Undine that is feeling sick. She welcomes him and Rit covers his eyes and pushes her own plot against him. Rit tells her to put clothes on, and she tells her that she will. She puts clothes on. The next day, Rudy decides she wants to heal him but without using her powers, so her companion tells her about an apothecary in the town that also sells hand warmers. Rudy walks into the apothecary, and she finally sees her brother and she hugs him. Rudy asks him why he left the party, and he tells her that he left to check on the demon lord. However, she tells him that Ares told her a different story, and this bothers Red because Ares broke his promise. He reveals the truth about his reason for leaving, and she tells him that she will also be living at this town from now on. Rit comes in, seeing Rudy and getting shocked. Rudy and Rit stare intently at each other, and Rit asks him what he's going to do. He tells her that he's going to stay here and run this shop with her. Rudy tells her that she shouldn't worry because she's also moving to this town. Rudy begins to break down because she's going against her hero's blessing, so she drinks the Devil's Blessing to weaken it once more. At sunset, Rit tells him that he should go and support Rudy, that way he can be there for Rudy when she needs him, and save this world. She holds his hand, telling him that they should talk about this again with Rudy around. The next day, Rit decides to have a deep discussion the way they do in anime. They decide to have an intense battle of plots in the bath. Rudy asks her if she's taken a bath with her brother, and Rit tells her that she has. Rudy tells her that her brother has never changed, and he was always so much stronger than her. She tells her about a time when she was 5, and she was the hero so she had to save a person. A giant bear came to kill her, but she knew that she had to save the person in front of her. Rudy got cut down and knocked out of the battle, but she still healed herself. She continues attempting to attack against the owl bear, but got knocked down once again. She thought that she would continue suffering like this if she survived, and people would just think she's a creepy weird kid. And she thought she had enough, but she wanted to continue seeing her brother. She yelled for her brother to help her.
Big brother, help!
He hugged her, apologizing for taking so long to get there for her. Rudy tells her that this made her happy, and that it's these memories that allow her to keep living. She no longer feels any sensations, such as the warm water or the taste of the warm milk she used to drink with him. The only reason she enjoys those things is only because they remind her of the happiness she felt when she shared it with her brother. Rudy tells Rit that she has been jealous of her because she saw her getting closer and closer with her brother, and that she wished that she could also be getting closer to her brother, but she only kept getting away. The next day, Rit and Rudy's companion head out to find a way to help Rudy, and Red is greeted by Danon in town. They catch up, and Danon tells him that Gideon was a formidable force that was able to keep the entire party together, and that he was a real man. Gideon tells him that he can't go back with him, and Danon realizes that he left the party out of his own free will. Red tells him that Rudy is here, and Danon heads out to help out Rudy. Red is startled, seeing that Danon doesn't have a right arm, and asks him what caused this, but Danon just walks off. Ares is also in town, and a person knocks on the door. Danon appears and tells Ares that Gideon is in this town. Danon asks where the hero is, but Ares refuses to tell him. He begs Danon to take him to their apothecary, and that he will ruin Red's life for messing with him and the hero. They go to the apothecary and destroy all of the potions and break everything in his shop. He takes a knife to the bed and rips it open, destroying the bed they once slept on. Danon tells him that this was all a big waste of time, but smiles to himself. Meanwhile, Danon is running with Red and telling him the story about how he lost his right hand. Rit and Tis are riding on the drakes, and Red catches up with them. Rit tells him that she's already seen Danon and that she's sorry for not telling him earlier. He asks her if she noticed anything was off, and she tells him there wasn't. Red realizes that she was probably trapped, because the Danon she met had his arm still attached. Red tells her that Danon's right hand was bitten off by the Demon Lord, so the person she likely saw was the Demon Lord taking his form after consuming Danon's arm. Red tells her that he will fight alongside Rudy, because if this keeps going, their life will be unbearable, and he wants to live a peaceful life with her. She agrees, stating that she will become the champion Rit once more. Red runs towards a cave, and finds Godwin is sitting inside. He asks him where Rudy is, but her refuses to answer. He holds his arm behind his back and makes him screaming, causing Rudy to come up to him. He reveals that Tis told him about the devil's blessing, and that he has also been looking for a way to suppress her blessing this whole time. She asks him why he's been doing this, as his whole life he's just been trying to save the world. He tells her that he has been doing all of this his whole life because she is precious to him. He has been preparing his whole life so that he can always be by her side and make her happy. She feels upset, knowing that she's been doing all the things she shouldn't have just so that she can stay with Gideon, and asks him to forgive her. He comforts her, hugging her. They gather back up with Tis and Rit, but a swarm of eyes come at them, and Rudy attacks him. They run towards the source and find Ares at the end of it. He tells them that he will do everything to stay by Rudy's side. He attempts to attack Red, slamming him against the wall and crushing him. He tells Rudy to go back with him, but she just stabs him in his place, telling him that he will not die, but he better stay away from them for the rest of his life. The man taking Danon's form transforms. He gives a healing potion to Ares, telling him that he can help him get the hero back on his side with a special weapon hidden underneath. Danon makes it inside the location with Theodora, and she tells him that she apologizes for any decisions that she may make. Danon doesn't understand, but runs forward, destroying the walls. Meanwhile, the shapeshifter is walking with Ares, but Danon appears and throws his blade at him. They begin attacking each other, and Danon uses his single arm to punch him off. Danon tells him that he's become stronger with his left hand thanks to his bite, and proceeds to punch him and destroy him against the wall. He asks Ares for help, and Ares struggles as he doesn't know if he should attack Danon. However, he ends up sending an electric javelin towards him, stopping him in his place, and the Demon Lord gets to stab Danon. The Demon Lord finally transforms into his real form, and begins to attack against Danon, but he manages to block his swords and crush them with his fingers. However, a blade enters Danon's chest once again with the Demon Lord's foot. Ares realizes that he feels calm, as this isn't the first time he's betrayed a friend. Ares and the Demon Lord head downstairs, and he sees the Holy Demon Slayers. There is supposed to be only one of them, but somehow the Demon Lord has 5 hidden away. He tells them that these are called the Sacred Avengers, and that the hero is actually a replica, just like the sword she has. If he wants to have Rudy return to being a hero, she must wield a Sacred Avenger, and all her human ties, which is her relationship with Gideon, must be destroyed by killing him. The shapeshifter appears in front of Rit, and she begins attacking him. Red helps her, but Ares begins attacking against them with flame projectiles. Rudy blocks off his attacks, telling him that she'll forgive him if he surrenders now. They summon their abilities against one another, but they cancel each other out. Godwin attempts to run for his life, but a dragon comes and Tis saves him. Albert finds Danon and gives him a potion to drink. Meanwhile, Rudy summons a whirlwind attack that shakes Ares and the Demon Lord. He realizes that Rudy is stronger than any of the previous heroes. A rumbling comes from underneath, and Theodora ties up Rit and knocks her down. She begins to attack Rudy, and Rudy asks her why. Theodora tells her that she's been following her because she was supposed to be the hero, but has strayed away from that. They clash against one another, and Rudy dodges and jumps away. A dragon comes and steps on Rit, and Theodora tells her that even though Gideon is the strongest swordsman alive, he can't save those dear to him without the hero. Rit kicks the dragon off, calling Theodora's reasoning absurd because she is placing Rudy in a position against her will. The dragon begins to attack against Rit, and Gideon saves her. Ares sets a trap on top of them, and Theodora attempts to attack but gets cut in place. Rudy attempts to reach them, but the Demon Lord blocks her. Rit and Rudy are falling down, about to be crushed. However, Danon appears, stating that he will never allow his comrades to die. He summons a dragon fist that reaches above and sends Red and Rit flying back up. Ares summons an electric javelin against him, and Rit attempts to shield him but gets in pain. Tis has managed to trap him down with the spider, and Gideon finally slashes his arms down and ends him. Meanwhile, Rudy has had her sword broken by the Demon Lord, and he enhances all of his demon slayers to attack against Rudy. She continues to parry him, but he kicks her down. She throws her blade at him, asking him if it was so bad that she wanted to live her life normally. He tells her that it is, because this world needs a hero for humanity. She tells him that a fire of rage burns inside of her, and this causes him to stay defensive. She rushes forward at vanishing speeds, punching against his 4 demon slayers, breaking them, and then she goes on to slash him down. However, he is glad that he at least managed to get her to hold one of these sacred Avengers, as she has now lost her mind. She comes back, ready to kill her own brother. However, as she slashes, he blocks it off with his bronze sword to kick the sword away from her. She hugs him, crying, and he comforts her. They go back home together, and Rudy enjoys feeling the snow for the first time as her hero blessing has finally gone away, and she can have normal sensations again. They go and relax on grass, and Rudy asks him if they will be together forever, and he tells her that he will never leave her side again. In the following days, Rit tells Red that she's been sad lately, worrying that he'll be gone the following morning. She tells him that he has the guide's blessing, and that he always wants to help people reach their goals. She tells him that she's scared that he may want to go and guide someone else, and that he would leave their shop and bed especially after they were all destroyed. He tells her that he needs her, and that she's the only reason he comes back to the shop and his bed. He tells her that he remembers when they met again, and she told him there was things he didn't know, but that it made her happy. He tells her that he was far from perfect, but she still wanted to be with him. He tells her that he can guide someone until they can do it alone, but she's different, because she still wanted to be with him no matter how much guidance he needed. He tells her that this is the end of his journey, and that he will be with her forever, and that he loves her more than she can imagine. At night, she sits on the bed, and he begins to develop plot with her. She tickles him and pushes him down, accidentally revealing her plot. She asks him if he saw her personality, and he tells her that it was amazing. She tells him that something's missing and gets up. She develops plot and stands in front of him. She then hugs him, and he tells her that he can't hold back anymore. She feels the same way, and they kiss each other. If you made it this far, you're a supreme man of culture who will develop all the plot in the world. So let's team up and confuse all the haters in the comments section who will never feel plot. Let's spam the comments by saying "Rip the Doctor. He was a real one." Only true legends will comment that. Thank you for finishing this beautiful journey with me. Till next time.